Computer. Welcome, everybody, and have a warm welcome to Mr. Charles Clay. He is an inner peace coach and healer, neurokinetic pain relief specialist, which I'm super excited to learn more about that. A creator of the laser focus method and the inner peace process. Thank you so much for being on Raw Babes. I'm excited to dive into your story and learn a little bit more about you, who you are, all the things you've been through. Thank you
Yeah,
for
I'm
being here.
excited to be here. Thanks
Yeah,
for having me on.
yeah, definitely. So, can you tell us where this all started for you? How did you get into all of these things, all of these healing modalities?
Yeah, it's probably not every day you meet an inner peace coach and healer. And
Yeah.
so my background is in kinesiology. I grew up in Washington State, studied, got my degree in kinesiology, minor in health and wellness, and then moved to San Diego to live the beach life and started, personal training back then and got into health coaching and then something happened in 2008 that shifted everything for me, and this is the beginning of the from pain to purpose
Okay.
story. So we were up in Mammoth Mountain with a couple buddies, and on this particular day it was a full-on blizzard. There was snow coming every which way. You could barely see a tree like 5 feet in front of you. It was just a blur. And they shut down the lifts because it was so dangerous up
Oh
there.
my gosh.
But we're already at the top. So we're looking at each other like, hey, let's just charge and be ready for anything. And so we're flying down this like white abyss. It was literally like snowboarding on clouds and having a blast until about halfway down. I went off a jump that I didn't know was there. And I
Mm.
was in midair. It felt like I just went off a cliff and I freaked out, tensed up. Soon as I landed, it was like a lightning bolt just hit me in the low back. It was
Holy
the
shit.
excruciating physical pain I had experienced. And, I'm yelling to my friends, hoping they can hear me. They're already down the hill quite a ways. I grabbed my phone and my phone's dead. So here I am, in the middle of this mountain in a blizzard at a level 11 on a 10 scale of pain.
And
And
nobody's even able to go up the chair lifts because it's
right,
closed. So people are not coming down.
so it's in those moments, that it's like the ability to find another gear to channel the inner Spartan warrior, just to, click my board off and sit on it so that I could slide down as far as I could. And then, because I couldn't stand up, so I would just keel over, breathe into the pain for a bit, and then go down as far as I could. And eventually I made it down the mountain. And then I had to go see doctors, and I didn't like what they were telling me. I got images and MRIs, and I got multiple opinions because they were telling me that my spine was so jacked up that I would need multiple surgeries or I'd never move the same again. Now,
Oh my God.
for someone that appreciates these human bodies, these sensory suits, I, even in a fight or flight state, was able to access my intuition and choose a different path. I knew
Amazing.
I didn't want to go under the knife and put that power into somebody else's hands, and so I chose a self healing path, which wasn't easy. I remember being in San Diego in my apartment, like could barely even crawl to the bathroom. I was in so much
Wow.
pain, and it was in those moments that I finally just kind of let myself surrender into all the emotions that I had been avoiding, like all the uncomfortable feelings that I had been, training 10 clients a day, going running on coffee, going out on the weekends and partying and sex, drugs, and rock and roll, chasing
Yeah.
pleasure, not feel the heaviness of, some of the not so pleasant emotions. And so in
Hmm.
this moment, it was like my body was like, hey, it's time to stand still and face this. And so in a pool of my own tears, feeling fear whether I would even move the same again
Yeah.
and get stand up straight, to shame, I could barely even get to work or do anything productive, let alone stand up. And so, and even some grief that I hadn't processed from earlier loss in my life. And so as we have a good cry, there comes clarity on the other side of that. And so I had this like really clear intention and dropped into a meditation with the intention of receiving all answers to healing naturally. And
Wow.
during that meditation, a friend I hadn't talked to in over 2 years sent me a text and said, "Hey, I heard your back's in bad shape. Check out NKT, neurokinetic therapy, the work of David Weinstock."
Oh my God.
Yeah, it took me down quite the rabbit hole, and I started studying his work and started connecting so many dots for me with my background. And I got him on the phone, said, "Man, I think you could help me. I want to learn more." And he was in the Bay at the time, connected me with his top student in San Diego. And that's how I got to meet Christina. Christina was a neurokinetic therapist. And when I walked in to get my first session with her, I literally looked like Shakira, like stuck in a mid-hip dance move. My
Oh
hips
my
are
gosh. Your
my
hips don't
body,
lie.
right? And exactly. And that was representative. My body was showing me how out of alignment I was with my purpose at that time, and so it was all happening for me, but there was no escaping the pain. And so getting on the table, she started testing muscle groups, and she would just have me push down with my foot and found that like my glutes weren't firing and
Okay.
just weak. And I was like, "Wow, what do you mean my glutes aren't firing? That's weird. I have huge glutes." She's like, "Yep, all form, no function." She had a good sense of humor. And so she had me clench my jaw and then retested the glutes, and all of a sudden they were strong. And so
Wow.
body had just told us that the neurological traffic jam, the overcompensation was happening at the jaw muscles that was limiting that signal getting to the big guns, to the glutes, to activate those muscles.
Wow.
So then she's putting on these rubber gloves. It says, "I know we just met, but I'm going to have to go in your mouth."
Oh my, I thought you were going to say something else.
Yeah. So she's massaging my jaw, and super painful. I could tell I carried a lot there. Jaw, later to find out, represents, we tend to carry a lot of anger, resentment, even the energy of revenge can be kind of trapped emotions stuck in that. And that was the neurological traffic jam. So after just a couple minutes of releasing that, it literally like opened
Oh
up all
yeah.
these pathways. And now my glutes are firing again. And
Wow.
my all these muscles are coming back online to help stabilize my spine. So it was pretty amazing. We did this for a couple other muscle groups, compensation patterns that we discovered. It was getting answers from my body through muscle testing. And I got off the table and I could stand up straight, and I felt like dancing. I gave her a big hug and said, "I'm going to come see you every week." And I went on to study under David Weinstock, took all of his courses live, and
Wow.
became a neurokinetic therapist,
Wow.
and totally shifted the trajectory. And so then I had the honor of helping a lot of people understand their aches, pains, injuries, and how it's all happening for us as a pain is a sign to pay attention inward now. And
Ooh.
it's like a check engine light, you know. And what's funny
Pay.
is
Hold on, I'm writing this down. Pay
that
attention.
attention inward now. And the more
Wow.
intense the pain, the more something needs to change.
Okay.
So a real quick, powerful self-inquiry that I can offer that can help you through any challenge is 3 questions you can ask yourself anytime you're feeling heavy emotions, getting triggered, in pain. First one is, how is this happening for me? And
Okay.
this is an important question because just by asking self inquiry to begin with, you're taking your mind and giving it a task instead of letting it go down the negative spirals of like worst case scenarios. I better go
That
on Google,
loop. That
diagnose,
loop.
and then
Oh,
worse and worse, right? Downward spiral of quicksand.
it's just
So,
chaos. I'm telling you, like it is chaos at times for people, for myself, even. I'm like getting out of that loop. Continue
mhm.
on. How is this happening for me?
So yeah, then you're using your mind as a heat-seeking missile to to finding answers to these questions. And so the quality of the questions we ask can greatly enhance the quality of our life. And the second one is what needs to change. And so this, the body's giving you some intense signals. There's something that wants to change in your lifestyle, something to let go of, or to add in that can benefit you. And so the third one is, what are the lessons to learn and the blessings to earn from this experience, this challenge? And by asking those questions, even if the answers don't come instantaneously, you're setting your reticular activation system. Are you familiar with what that is?
Nope.
So this is a
You tell me.
phenomenon in our mind. It's literally, science has proven it's a part in our mind that's always filtering just the thousands and thousands of stimuli in every moment that's coming in into what's actually important to us. So it's that phenomenon that's happening all the time, whether we're aware of it or not. When
Okay.
you see the brand new, blue Tesla SUV and you're like, oh, I like that car. I want to be the only one on the road with that. And then you start seeing them pop up everywhere. One pulls up next to you, you see in a magazine, these things. That's because it's not that they weren't there before, it's that now it's on your reticular activation. So reticular, meaning retina, the lens at which we see our reality through, is activated to that which we want, which we find interesting. So when we're not aware of this, it can easily go into, example would be, we wake up, didn't get enough sleep, and we're like, oh man, this is going to be a rough day. As soon as we declare that and even identify with those thoughts, we've just unintentionally set our reticular activation to seeking evidence of it being a bad day. And boy, the universe will
Exactly.
provide. And
What you
so,
focus on expands.
right. So then, you stub your toe, you're, spilling your coffee, ungrounded, or someone's stealing your parking spot. These things keep unfolding with that type of mindset. And so knowing this and asking these powerful questions can set your reticular activation to seeking answers to benefit you. So it's a
Wow.
game changer. And this, I received a lot of answers through these challenges, and this was accelerating my healing journey. And I got to help a lot of people unpack and realize why they're experiencing back pain, why they're having the same reoccurring shoulder or neck injuries, and how to help them heal that naturally for
Yeah.
themselves by receiving those lessons and blessings from it. And when we see it through that lens and you gain the lessons, then it doesn't have to keep reoccurring in your experience, which we all know, that can be really frustrating when we feel like we've healed something and keeps coming back. There's just more to learn.
You're like, yep, going back to kindergarten
Yeah,
yet again,
totally.
back to square one.
And frustration's valid emotion, yet we forget that now we get to see it from a different perspective because we've grown since the last time it's shown up. But the more we can gain the lessons from it and the blessings, then the less it needs to keep reoccurring in your experience, and you can release those negative patterns that are no longer
Yeah.
needed. So this type of work evolved into what I offer now over the past decade is refinement of an inner peace process that allows you to go to the source of any triggers. It's like the family, friends, our loved ones, they know how to poke those buttons that really, create the reactive response. And every time you get triggered and feel intensity, uncomfortable emotions, that is a gateway to deeper healing. So there's a process that's really simple and effective to step by step to going to the source of where that's coming from. The first time we experience that unpleasant emotion, there's usually an event that occurred that, we call it trauma with the capital T, but it was actually just an event,
Just an event. Yeah.
no matter how bad that might have been, we're the meaning makers of it. And so for adults, we might think it's silly. We understand what grief feels like and frustration, anger, all these things. But as a kid, for the first time experiencing these things, it's a lot. And so then we create stories that felt true in that moment. Like, man, parents divorced, mom left, I must not be good enough to keep the ones I love around, or, I'm not worthy of love. And these are the stories, the decisions that we make about ourselves in these events that then perpetuate in our subconscious and keep showing up in our experience and our reality, pointing to the source of where it's coming from. And this is a beautiful process for releasing that, pulling those negative beliefs that were created then, and planting some deeper seeds of truth to
Yeah.
embody. And you also get to the opportunity to reparent that younger version of you and essentially rescue yourself from these old stories and these events that we didn't fully get to process all the emotions from, so that energy stays stuck as issues in our tissues.
Wow.
And
I love
will
that.
keep showing up as pain, or getting pointed at until we take it to the source. But usually what we do, we've been conditioned, is to, oh, pain, it's time to seek pleasure. So our mind will go through a quick, you know band-aids that you can get, go to the fridge, stuff it, go on Netflix, escape from it, get caught in a
Get
scroll hole.
attention. Go on
Yeah,
dating apps.
totally. And even doers. I work with a lot of high achievers, high income earners that, instead of feeling what's coming up because it's so uncomfortable, they'll just get back to work. That just means I got to work harder and go, dive in on, get more work done, because that has been, this proud badge that we get to wear of being busy, of working hard, that has gotten us a level of appreciation and validation. And so when in fact this stuff doesn't go away until we bring it to the source and get to resolve it, gain those lessons and blessings. And through this inner peace process, you get to connect with even a future older, wiser, sage version of yourself
That's
that
right.
has some important intel for you as well, that helps. And it is astounding. I mean, it's been such a gift to get to share this work, because I've gotten to witness a lot of dreams coming true. I work with a ton of real estate agents that were just on the roller coaster ride financially, causing massive stress. They were in a fight or flight response often, and then they're making decisions from that fight or flight space, and that just perpetuates and creates more of that roller coaster ride experience, stress, anxiety, and even depression when they get further away from their path of purpose.
Yeah.
And so by going into these parts and reparenting that and letting your body finally metabolize energy that's been stuck, and allowing yourself to release those old negative beliefs, reality shifts pretty quick. And I've seen, some of the youngest real estate agents that had this roller coaster ride and, didn't have enough money and had these not enough programs going on. And they do this work, and all of a sudden within a month, they are like the top earner in their company and get like regional accolades for being the top sales and getting the
Wow.
most deals. And it's just one example of many, because the benefits are across the board with health as well, helping you come into alignment. People have lost a lot of weight without changing their workout regimen or their, diet, just from simply releasing these old negative beliefs, and the trapped energy frees up a lot of energy in your system, and you can channel that into constructive means instead
Mhm.
of choosing the distractions and the coping mechanisms that just perpetuate things. So that,
Absolutely. That's amazing. I have never heard about what you're talking about, and I'm just curious, what does like a session look like? What are you doing to the body? Like what's when you went into that work with that lady for that first time, you're saying like the jaw and that, but what would people expect?
yeah. So for example, I've had clients fly all the way out from Australia to come get sessions. And a lot of my work is online, but if it's the physical physiology, the body aches and pains that are showing up, then it's great to have these in-person sessions, because, for that example, he came to me with low back pain that he's experienced off and on, and it would get really intense. His back would get thrown out, and then he's out of work for, 2 weeks to a month. And this kept showing up again and again in his experience. And this is a really common one. And so first we address the metaphysics and how, what's going on in your life and your thoughts and your feelings are showing up as this check engine light because something's off. And so with low back specifically, it represents our support in life. So he was feeling really unsupported, especially when the root of this showed up. When he first threw his back out, it was like getting to reparent that version of himself when he really felt unsupported and isolated, dealing with a lot of anxiety. And so with that example, then we bring in some new affirmations. And one of the first questions I ask people is if, are you ready to heal this? And it may seem simple. He's like, yeah, I flew all the way out here for that. And I was like, well, I have to ask because some people are still so tied to the payoff of their pain.
That's right.
Meaning there's the stories of like, well, this is always how I've gotten support or attention, or people come to my rescue because, so these things keep reoccurring. But when someone's ready to heal it and sets that intention, then the body can respond in beautiful ways. And then we address the internal systems, so the organs, because the body works from the inside out. So if, say, we found some muscle groups that weren't firing, we turn those back on, feels really good for a while. But if there was an unaddressed, compensation pattern, or say like his liver was needing some support. Now, what's cool is if you've ever done reflexology,
Yes.
you see a good reflexologist, they'll find those trigger points on your feet, and when they hit them, and that's associated. Our hands, our faces, and our feet are all maps for our internal organ systems.
That's right.
When you can do this. I teach a self-guided reflexology, with something as simple as this high-tech piece of equipment, little ball, and you massage your foot out on it until you find the points that are really, speaking to you, like the biggest trigger points. And perhaps, if it's your liver in this example, then we go through a guided process to bring some support and some appreciation and some love and safety to that organ system. And this is opening up the channels of energy so that anything that's been stuck there or any blockages energetically can begin clearing.
Yeah.
And so this is important to address because if there's compromised organs systems, then the musculoskeletal system, the exterior part, will kind of go back to its old patterns because it's pointing to something deeper.
Yeah.
So we address that next, and then once that's cleared, which is a great preventative strategy for preventing dis-ease. It's amazing when you give the parts of your body support that need it the most and bring increased energy there. It's amazing how the body can heal. And lastly, we focus on the physiology and the emotional component, which a lot of people forget, that's intertwined with the reasons for pain. So the physiology is, with his example, his back pain, we would have him get on the table and I'd muscle test his abdominals. And those might even be firing, right? It's like a simple, your legs are at 90 degrees. We just apply a little bit of pressure here, have him match me. If those are strong, but then we tested his underlying deeper abdominal muscles, it's called your transverse abdominis. This is like your internal weight belt for your spine.
Okay.
And those were really weak. He failed that test. They weren't getting a good signal. And so then we get to figure out why, because that means that your muscles that stabilize your spine aren't firing properly. So that's putting you at a lot higher risk of injury. And that's why some people like just go bend over and pick up a pencil and all of a sudden their back goes out.
They're like, oh, yeah.
So then oftentimes, like in my example, the jaw can be a big culprit, or the diaphragm. But in this example with the jaw, we'd have him clench his jaw and retest those inner core muscles. And if they're strong, then the body just told us that that's the culprit. And if they're weak, if they're still weak, then we could go to different areas to see what else could be compensating for it.
So let's say the jaw, and I know it's for a lot of people, myself included, I had work done where they went in and like on the inside of my mouth, kind of like what you were describing. And it was so painful because I had always got like so many headaches. So when you diagnose or you figure, I don't want to say diagnose, but figure out the area, what do you do then? So like, let's just say for me, it's my jaw and you've located that. So now what do you do?
Yeah. So first we would find what muscles aren't firing properly, right? So that's usually where the pain's showing up, and so a lot of people go get a massage if you have low back pain, and just hammering on that spot that the pain's showing up, but you're missing out on the whole picture. So
Right.
you recognize that your jaw's tight, that there's some issues there, but what we would do is muscle test to see where that's correlated with, so that the jaw
Inside.
likely overcompensating for some of the muscles through the intrinsic system. So it's all interconnected, kinetic
Right.
chain. So we would find, might be your core muscles, or, the hip flexors that might not be firing properly, right? And so once we find that correlation, what's overfiring the jaw and what's weak, those muscle groups, in the example I was using was the deep core muscles. Then when the body tells us that answer, then we know, okay, cool. Now we can resolve that by releasing the jaw. And I use a really easy but powerful process for releasing those muscles. And
Okay.
then you open up the channels and have a window of opportunity to re-strengthen and reactivate those muscles that were weak.
Okay.
So I teach, in his example, I taught him a bulletproof core technique, and it's the fastest way I've found to really activating those deep core muscles and keeping those online. And you apply this technique. It's a combination of expansion breathing and optimal activation of those core muscles. It instantly makes you stronger in everything you do and decreases
Whoa.
your risk of injury. So it's a game changer for workouts, for athletes, for even weekend warriors, because once you learn this technique, it can reduce your risk of injury and increase your strength by stabilizing your spine better. So in that case, teach him that, and then now he knows he has a 5-minute little tune-up that he can do, release his jaw right when he gets to the gym or before he goes on a run, and then do this bulletproof core technique to reactivate his deep core muscles. Every time he's doing that, he's reestablishing the correct neural pathway so that the
Okay.
signal can get to those muscles where it's supposed to go, and the jaw can relax and just do its job. And every time you do that, it's reinforcing the neuromuscular efficiency, the correct neural pathways. And so over time, a short amount of time, they'll notice, pain goes away because we've just resolved the reason for the check engine light, right?
Yeah.
You
The
resolve
root.
the dysfunction, then there's no need for the check engine light pain. And like I said, sometimes there's a emotional um, energy that wants to be released as well. So while we're releasing the jaw, it's creating a safe space for any of that anger that wants to come to the surface, or resentment, or any of that wants to come through, allowing that so that it can move through you, because it's no longer, it's like these emotions are energy in motion, but they get trapped and stuck when we try to resist them. It's like trying not to feel something just keeps it stuck and keeps getting
100%. Yeah.
and pointed at. That's why it's important to allow yourself to feel it and heal it with a safe space, so that can allow your body to finally release that energy that's no longer needed. I call it 3D debris. It's like the heavy weight that we carry, that we've chosen to carry, so it's really liberating on the other side of this work. So even in one session, he gets off the table and he's feeling in alignment again. He's learned a new technique to increase his deep core muscle activation and expansion breathing, so he's stronger. And I muscle test to show him that as well, so he walks out of there feeling like Leonidas from 300,
I love
Spartan.
this. All the warriors. Yes. Being a badass warrior is
Mhm.
amazing. Do you recommend muscle testing for like foods and
Yeah.
vitamins and things like that?
It is such a great gift that everybody can practice and get good at, because muscle testing can save you a fortune, on supplements and eating the right foods. Everybody gets so caught up on all the different diets and
Yeah.
what works best, but it's like everybody's, different with your own constitution, your doshas, your, you know, what what you've had to eat that day previous. So learning how to muscle test, you can find out if whatever you're about to take is either making you strong or weak. And when you feel strong in your muscle test, then that's a yes. Your body's like, yes, this is good. Let's have it. If it's weak, then it's like, no bueno. Don't take that supplement. Or so when I started applying this, boy, I went through like, I was a supplement king and went through and found that like 70% of the supplements I had weren't actually good for me.
Shit.
You
I'm the
know,
supplement queen.
Yeah. And they're like, yeah, scientifically proven. Yeah, this benefits, like turmeric can really benefit your anti-inflammatory means and all kinds of benefits. But if your constitution and your body doesn't agree with that type of spice and that root, then it can wreak more havoc than good.
Yeah.
So, I found out I was, allergic to ginger, or just had an intolerance to it. So here
Wow.
I was eating sushi and all this ginger and wondering why, like, I was having gut issues and my, was having neck issues, all kinds of stuff was showing up, pointing to that second question, what needs to change? And so as I started an elimination diet, just cutting things out and then reintroducing them in after a month or so, your body can give you that information, that intel really quickly. You
Hmm.
can tell, oh yeah, this is good or this is bad. So it's good to
Would
have muscle testing to know.
would you hold the food and then you just basically test from holding the food or the vitamin?
Yeah, yeah. So there's a number of different ways of doing it. I like to use just very simple. You hold the vitamin, close to your solar plexus, your heart, and then you muscle test. I like to use, one straight finger, and then your index finger straight, and then your middle finger on top of it, and you push
Okay.
down with your middle finger. And if your index finger is still strong and it holds solid, then that's a yes. If it goes weak,
Are you using your left or right hand?
you can use either. Um, so this is just a great simple way to muscle test, because you can do it with one hand. And the more you practice, it's about getting out of your head and into the intelligence of your body. But once you practice it, you can get really good at this, and you can know real quick if something's good
You're
for
just like
you.
boom, yes, boom, no.
Yep.
I like that. I've learned this before, but there's obviously lots of different ways. I like this. This is very simple.
Yeah. Yeah. And it works, and it saves you, inflammation, lots of money, and it's a game changer, so then you're
Wow.
only putting things in your body that strengthen you.
Yeah.
Your body loves, and,
Makes sense.
cutting out what it doesn't. And then it's like, cool, let's play the game. How incredibly good can you feel? you know?
Hey, I'm in. This is
Yeah.
this is my game of life. It's just
Mhm.
trying new things and remember, new
Mhm.
adventures, right? This is
Exactly.
the card that we pulled before we started is explore new ventures, move forward with confidence. We are with you. I
Yeah.
love this. And one more question before we keep going. When you're just for everybody else too, you want to like push hard so you're actually trying to keep it strong, or you just want to relax.
Nope. You can go. It doesn't have to be like super forceful.
Okay.
Really tuning in to, does it feel strong? Does your index finger hold strong when you apply pressure to it, or does it go limp and weak?
Well, what if mine is not exactly feeling that strong just by itself?
Yeah. So then if all those muscles are not even firing, or just pretty weak in general, then there's some deeper stuff that wants to be looked at. And that's
Oh, for
why
sure.
the neurokinetic therapy and the mind body tune-ups can be really beneficial, because sometimes that's the case for people. Like, a lot of muscles are shut offline.
Yeah.
Even the greatest athletes, I've worked with Trey Hardy, the world champion, Olympian and decathlete champ. And when we first met, he was dealing with back pain too and had all kinds of compensation patterns going on. So we cleared that first and then, got him back in the game. And before you know it, now he went from like, being weak and his business kind of in question, whether that was going to work, into some new opportunities that opened up for him. And he got to be the emotional support rock in his family, and get to support and show up for his family in a big way. And then some new opportunities showed up in his experience that allowed for the next level of success for
Wow.
him. It's just really cool to see, how doing this inner work, the benefits are across the board. Talk about relationships, the everybody wants to go out and save or help the world. Well, in my opinion, the greatest thing you can do for the world and humanity is to heal thyself,
Mm,
to know thyself. And so when you have a process that anytime you get triggered, or somebody's pissing you off, and you have a step-by-step process to go to the source of it and heal it for good, for not only you, but releasing these negative patterns and generational wounds for past generations and your future kids. It's like doing a huge favor for our future generations. So I see my little girls every day and I'm like, man, they're my greatest inspiration.
good.
When my stuff comes up and I get triggered, I could either go to the fridge and stuff it, or try to escape it, or go to the source of it, take it through this step-by-step process and resolve it for myself and them, and then they don't have to carry those old programs any further.
You are just preaching my language. This is singing to my ears. I love it. It's so important. And especially, like you said, for our kids, it's for all of humanity. We always say like the cleanup crew coming
Yeah,
in hot to really look at all of this and, taking things as how is this happening, like you say, for me instead of to me, and realizing my belief is we choose all of this. We choose these lessons. And like
right.
that event for you with the snowboarding, like you look back at that and you're like, thank you. Oh my gosh. It's like
Totally.
your angels coming in hot, like push you, whatever happens, you lose control. And it's like in the moments when we're in the fire, we're like, why is this happening? How is this happening? And then it's like the gift is on the other side.
That is literally a way to, that question of how is it happening for me is instantly taking you out of any victim mode. It's like taking responsibility for, what am I to gain from this, no matter how bad the challenge. And that's a game changer, because some people spend a lot of time choosing victimhood, and that just prolongs the experience of suffering, much longer than need be. So that's taking responsibility for, being a creator in this experience, and then as a learning opportunity. And that's why pain has become such a great teacher for me,
Yeah.
and I appreciate that. And looking back, yes, I'm glad that happened. And there was always like, many signs before that I ignored. Like the universe will give you a little feather, like, hey, you're a little out of alignment here. You might want to make some shifts. Or we don't pay attention to that. It's like getting hit in the head with a brick, a bad hangover, or waking up with dealing with the consequences of some bad decisions the night before. And if we don't make some changes after that, then it's like the equivalent of a Mack truck or a back injury on a mountain, like in my case. So now I pay attention to the feathers, the little micro adjustments that I can make to help me realign. And I do that with a really powerful practice. It's a alignment activation to reclaim full sovereign chi. And I
Oh, I
use this,
like
yeah,
sovereignty. I love that. Haven't heard that yet.
yeah, it's a good one because it's your life force energy. And
That's
so
right.
we're oftentimes giving our power, our energy away, even to distractions or other people, and so this is just it's like a energetic hygiene practice, just like taking a shower every day. You can practice this as your good morning ritual, and it's filling up with your own life force energy so much in each and every cell that there's no room for anything else. You can ground it, return to sender, and then you're amplified with your own energy. And boy, it's fun to create from that space. It's like inspired action, new ideas can land. So it's a really cool and effective practice for movement, meditation, visualization practice that's and some breath work techniques that allow you to get to that heightened state and operate from there. So it sure beats waking up and hopping on your phone after your alarm goes off and then getting into fight or flight reactive mode, all the emails and response, all the things. Instead, own your morning, practice, have your own good morning ritual to fill up with your own energy, and then create from that space. Woo, it's like your Batman signal can be broadcast on a lot bigger scale. And it's a
Wow.
game changer. And that's a free gift that I offer everybody. You know, they can, all the listeners, you can go to charlesclay.coach, scroll to the bottom and just subscribe there, and you'll get an auto email with that guided sovereignty alignment activation, so that you can try it for yourself. And when it feels good, you know it's working. And it's really a game changer.
And how is this something that people can do each morning?
Yep. And you can do it anytime you feel off. You're in a funk, you're getting the feathers or the bricks from the universe. It's like, it's a good time to realign and have a energetic hygiene practice to come back into alignment.
Wow. I do have a question.
Hmm.
So somebody like maybe myself, I'm finding sleep. I am having such a challenge. I've never had an issue before. And I'm just awake. I'm wired.
Mhm.
I'm absolutely wired at night. And I'm not able to, I'm not going to say this. I am able to, because my words are powerful. I am able to sleep. It's just, yeah, right now I'm really noticing such a
Yeah.
challenge.
How long has that been your experience?
This is just new. So probably a week or so.
Yeah. So one of the greatest tools for this is right under your nose, the
Yeah.
power of breath, right? So you can think about, if like you want to go as far as to classify it as insomnia, first you can ask yourself those three questions. How's this happening for me? What needs to change? And what are the lessons and blessings? Because something as extreme as insomnia is essentially fear. And it's not trusting in the process of life. And it can even be pointing to guilt. And guilt usually will show up as like self-punishment in ways, right?
Wow.
So there's
Can
you
can
up
we
for a
un
little?
can we
Yeah.
unpack a little? Like this is what I love to do. I'm very open and I'll share. So the fact that it's guilt and like you've nailed it. Everything. I'm just like, yep, check, check, check. So um I've had to kind of deal with uncomfortable situations. My son, I share my son, right? So I have to deal with co-parenting.
Mhm.
And recently it's just been more, I've been needing to have boundaries and stand in my power in a different way. And a pattern that has come up is there's a lot of inconsistency. So, for example, everybody needs to plan their life. So I would get last minute redirections of like, no notice. I need, I need this. I need this. I need to have Cassius at this time. And of course, for example, my life is planned and I have important things that we do for my time. And that's just life. So here's the part about guilt is I often would just go with the flow because I like to just be free and very easy and not have that resistance. But on the other side, that word no doesn't happen very often. So then there's a backlash. So for
Right.
me, it didn't work at all. Like if something works, I'm pretty flexible. Like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It didn't this day. And it was no notice. So then, of course, that inner child, that little girl, that people pleasing, which I've I'm telling you, I've done so much work on, was just another layer that was ready to come up. So I said no. And, we deal with the repercussion of a text message or something rude. It's inappropriate and it's not allowed. So then there's that boundary crossed. So then I'm sitting here feeling the feelings of like, I said no, I've stood in my power. What are other people going to think of me? All those types of things. So what I did do, I was um, grateful to have a free day. I just laid outside. I brought my journal and I started to go deep and like uncover this inner child of what was there. But I want to go into this with you because this is something that I'm working through in all areas of my life with saying no and not feeling guilty about it or like I'm a bad person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really appreciate you sharing that so vulnerably because I feel like a lot of people can relate, right? And it's when we're carrying this heavy energy of guilt, then it could suck us into the people pleaser program. It's like, oh, I'll just do whatever to keep, everything out of conflict
You
and
got it.
just be, a bit of a like a pushover, right? So first I want to honor you for setting and honoring your boundaries and
Thank
saying
you.
no, right? So that's already taking a courageous step in changing that and using the art of discernment. I call it. It's like you have an epic sword and you get to use it and say no to the things that aren't in alignment with your highest, and that's saying yes to you and
That's
allowing
it.
amazing opportunities to come in. So can guide you through a quick little process if you want that can help you
Let's do it.
at night too. Cool. So are you ready, able and willing to heal this and let it go?
Absolutely. Yes.
Hallelujah. All right. So now that you've kind of identified, that fear and guilt and not trusting the process of life is some of the, lessons and blessings in this to gain,
Yes.
to learn. And then what we can do is we'll just guide you through a simple breath technique and a little visualization, and then bring in some deeper truths, some information that your cells can respond to. Sound good?
Beautiful. This is
Cool.
perfect.
And everybody listening can join us on this
Let's
because
do it.
it's only going to benefit you. So as long as you're not driving, close
Yeah.
your eyes.
Pull over. Pull
Yeah.
over.
So close your eyes and just imagine for a minute a scan. You're just noticing your internal state. So imagining a scan from head to toe. You're just noticing where there's sensations, where there's any energy residing, and simply observing as you move all the way down to your legs, your feet, and your toes. And now bring your attention, your awareness to your overall state of being, and checking in with your nervous system. On this scale, a 10 would be complete fight or flight, anxious, overwhelmed, you know, freaking out. And a 1 on this scale would be complete inner peace, just a Zen sanctuary feeling, like you're having tea with Buddha. And just notice, honoring exactly where you're at now, what's the first number that comes to heart?
5.
Yeah, good. So now we can invite in an expansion breath, and we'll give you the short version. It's imagine your belly button just beneath that. The center of your belly is the epicenter of your breath. And as you breathe in, you're going to expand in every direction like a balloon instead of just forward. So let's breathe in for 4 seconds together.
In my
Inhaling.
nose.
Yeah. So in through the nose for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Filling up in every direction. And then exhaling for 8 count. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Repeat this cycle. Inhaling, expanding, even backwards, up and down, getting oxygen to your head, to your hair follicles, down to your toenails for 3, 2, 1, filling up, and then a smooth, steady exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. One more round of this. Inhale, expand for 4. Really filling up with your intention of healing and releasing anything that's no longer needed. And then exhale into here and now, just releasing, relaxing. Good. And we'll do a little visualization here. Anytime we catch ourselves in the mind in Problemville, we can always access a deeper operating system. So as you continue this 4-8 expansion breath on your own, just visualize an elevator in your mind's eye. And the doors open for you. You step in, it's super inviting. There's one button pointing down. You press the button, it lights up. The doors close behind you. And just watch as your awareness drops from the head space down, past your jaw, through your throat, down past your shoulders, and right into the center of your heart. And the doors open here into this space of pure, unconditional love. This is a space where you can receive answers, insights, and even new ideas. This is a space where you can connect with everyone and everything, including your higher self. And this is a safe space for feeling and healing whatever is present. And here, you can attune to that intention of releasing what no longer serves you, healing this so you can get a good night's sleep. And from here, we'll bring in an affirmation. You can repeat after me. I am willing and able
I am willing and able
to release the pattern in my consciousness
to release the pattern in my consciousness
that created this condition.
that created this condition.
I lovingly release the day
I lovingly release the day
and slip into peaceful sleep,
and slip into peaceful sleep,
knowing tomorrow will take care of itself.
knowing tomorrow will take care of itself.
Good. And just breathe that in. Imagine that truth is a color. What's the energy? What's the color of that energy? It's the first color that comes to heart.
Pink.
Yeah. So just breathing in, get into your belly, 4 seconds in, this pink essence. And I'll repeat it again. You can just remain silent and receive. I lovingly release the day and slip into peaceful sleep, knowing tomorrow will take care of itself. All is well. And so it is. And allowing every cell, atom, and molecule of your being to really embody this affirmation. Just letting yourself feel it. And then tuning in one more time to that scale of your nervous system. Just checking in 1 through 10. 10 is anxious, overwhelmed, and a 1 is rest and digest, inner peace. What number comes to heart now?
1.
Yeah, beautiful. When you're ready, you can open your eyes, coming back into this space.
Wow. That's so beautiful. Oh my gosh. Charles, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Thank
well done.
you.
That's a tool that's right under your nose the whole time. So this 4-8 expansion breath is amazing. It's like your first tool in your Batwoman utility belt, that you can use anytime you're getting triggered at night when you need to get to sleep. It just calms your nervous system. So by exhaling smooth, slow, and longer than you inhale, it has a soothing, calming effect on the nervous system. And that's allowing us to do that visualization of just dropping 12 inches from the mind, where we're always looking for problems, and
Yeah.
into the heart, which is like endless solutions and win-win-win scenarios and, deep truth and insights. And so that
Wow.
operating system, when you reside there more often, then your mind can become a beautiful instrument of the heart. And it's so much easier to speak from that place, to get a good night's sleep, to rest, let your body honor your body's needs, and hold your boundaries as well.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that's a game changer, because by slowing things down anytime you're experiencing problems or triggers, then you can really begin to take a look at those 3 questions, that self-inquiry that can help you, receive those answers and insights.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I've always said that um he's been my biggest teacher because any sort of trigger, I've always chosen to take it and to go heal with it.
Yes.
Just another pathway to peace,
Yeah, I want to honor you
freedom.
for, even saying yes to that commitment originally, because my wife and I call it relation shape. It's like we get to shape our relations so that it can serve everybody best. And those, it's the ultimate dojo,
Yeah.
more so than any, wild plant medicine or, going into self-development courses, like saying yes to a committed relationship and standing in the fire when, there's a lot to be alchemized is the ultimate dojo and
Mhm.
opportunity for the greatest learning and knowing thyself, because we're mirrors for one another. We're teachers for each other.
I agree 100%. So freaking powerful. I was
Mhm.
just in my mind, I was like, that whole clip of you doing, of us doing the breath work and that whole, what do you even call that?
4-8 expansion breath. It's like a pranayama
Oh,
practice.
we need to clip that and spread that with the world because
Absolutely.
it took me into a beautiful state. And that's kind of what I've been needing is to just get out of here and then come back to the heart and back to center.
Yeah. So look how incredible, just by setting your reticular activation, seeking answers, insights, we get to have this podcast together and, you receive these tools that can help you on your journey. And imagine more decisions being made from that heart-centered
Oh,
space of
yeah.
calm, peaceful tranquility, of what's in the highest and greatest good for all. If
Yeah.
more people practice this, then there's less problems to be dwelling on and less suffering in the world, and it's a game changer. So it's a treat to get to share this gift that's so simple, easy to use, and a great practice.
Absolutely. And what comes to my mind right now is the fact that now I understand why the podcast just hadn't, sorry, this
Mhm.
interview just didn't align. Because for all you guys watching, Charles was away in Hawaii. So there's a couple of times that we've had to reschedule due to or unforeseen circumstances, but it's all within the divine because this situation in my life hadn't happened yet for us
Mhm.
to then work through this.
Right. Divine
So I was
timing.
like, bingo, there it is. This is the why. And just
Amazing.
that trust. Um, what time are we at? We are at now 2:53. My little man is coming home. So thank you so incredibly much for spreading your magic. This has just been such a beautiful conversation. And I'm so excited for others to deep dive into you and potentially book something with you. Even myself, I'm just like, okay, this is the game changer. So thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
another
really
gift,
appreciate it.
while there's space available, for those listening, if any of this resonates, you want to dive deeper on muscle testing, have the inner peace process that you can use for self-healing, and releasing limiting beliefs, or any aspect that resonated with you. You can find me on Instagram if you're there, charlesclay.coach. It's the same as my website. And there, just message me, podcast, and I can offer a free 15-minute support call. And on that
Beautiful.
call, we can dive in to get to know you better, see what you're going through. And if there's any way I can help you, then we can talk about, look at some next steps. And even if I can't, we have such a plethora of resources that can send you in the right direction. And yeah, while space is available, feel free to reach out. I know that was one of my lessons and blessings was, there was a long period I had so much pride that I wouldn't reach out for help or support. I had trouble asking because, I was, just thought, no, I'll just go to the Batman cave and handle it myself, right? And it's just a slow, way of suffering through, when there's always an easier way. We're all in this together, and to get to share codes and support one another in this way is it's a beautiful journey. So it's accelerated path. And
Wow.
there's those, so whoever you feel intuitively called to reach out to, take action on that. Because every time you're saying yes to your intuition, you're saying yes to your soul, and you're improving that relationship to your soul, and a power that's much greater than us as humans. So I hope that inspires anyone to reach out. CharlesClay.coach. Be sure to get your free alignment activation, subscribing at the bottom. And
Yeah.
it's really exciting, group trainings coming up, and some really cool retreats. I also do private retreats here at a really special land that my friends own. They've acquired this acreage and built the most incredible luxury tree houses.
What?
Yeah, and it's 20 minutes from my house here. It's
Hold
incredible.
on. Okay, Tiffany's gonna lose her mind.
It's
She has
amazing.
been sending me these tree houses, and it's something that we've been wanting to go to experience. Where's here for everybody listening?
Yeah, so we're in Austin, Texas, in Lakeway, and it's literally like 20 minutes from here. And this is where I bring my private retreats, our couples retreats. It's such a sacred space, and it's nestled in nature. And to have, luxury tree houses is really fun. It's a treat. And
Do you have a date for your next retreat?
yeah, so I schedule these according with different clients. So I do personal retreats, and then we have couples retreats seasonally. So, the next one will probably be in a couple months. So
Mm.
it's in the works. Yeah, love to have you come experience it, and it should be a little cooled down by then here in Austin too. So
Yeah. No, I'm interested. Tiffany and I love to travel around and experience and do whatever we can to level ourselves up. I'm excited.
that's where I've been able to witness, facilitate the most incredible transformations. Literally in like a weekend retreat it's a deep dive. And you get the hands-on NKT mind body tune-ups. You get to experience the inner peace process, and then get to take home a version of that. So now you're going home with these new self-healing tools that you can use whenever needed for the rest of your life.
And this is going to, like you said, incredible for couples.
Mm,
Couples need it. Individuals need it. We all need it.
absolutely. Yeah. And
Wow.
my wife and I, now that we're past our first year with our youngest, Everly just had her birthday in Hawaii. We are
Aw,
offering more um, parent like partnership coaching, which is really
perfect.
exciting because they get both her expertise as she has just a multitude. She's such a medicine woman, and
Oh,
has
amazing.
psychotherapy masters, and so she brings so much to the table for the feminine, and then we get to have personalized sessions with the men with me, and then we have all come together for alchemy too, and it's just a really potent way for sacred union to have that kind of coaching and move
Yeah.
through layers of resentment, of the anger that builds up like a volcano that can create disconnection in relationships and
Oh, yeah.
disharmony, and to have some tools to go to the source of that, and allow for more peace and harmony in your relationship,
Yeah.
and to go
It's
away from the
priceless.
place. It's truly a gift.
Well, I'd actually love to meet your wife and
Yeah,
have her on the show so we can
absolutely.
share her magic.
Yes,
She
yeah,
sounds incredible. So,
yeah, you're in
yeah.
for a treat. She's amazing.
I'm ready. We're ready. This is so exciting. My mind's blown right now. I don't even know what to say because I'm just thinking about being in a tree house doing healing.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Yeah, please let me know when this date. I'll, keep an eye on your Instagram. Tiffany's
absolutely.
gonna lose her mind. She's like, I can feel her and hear her. She's like, I'm there. Sign
Yeah,
me up.
absolutely.
Yeah, so thank you from the fullness of my heart and the calmness of my soul for answering the call and doing what you do. It's
Mm.
incredible. Like, oh, and especially as a man and a divine masculine, I always call um divine men like the superior man. Thank you for, going through all that pain and trauma and all the things and unraveling yourself to answer the call, to lead by example, to change the world, to show others. It's just, I can't thank you enough. Thank you.
It's truly an honor and a pleasure. I received that. Thank you. This has been a lot of fun. Appreciate it.
Yes. You have to come back because this is just
Yeah.
just a little bit.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you all for tuning in, and definitely check out all of Charles' amazing offerings. I always have to try to find where to press stop recording. Here we go.